Fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode 279. We got 279 of these bad boyos. And I am here today with Atty the Hero. Say hi, Atty.
Hi, Eddie.
Well done, well done. And I, of course, am the one and only Pink Sparkle Puff. We may or may not be joined by Alex, our compatriot, in the near future. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with what we've got coming out on the channels this week.
Yeah.
And on my end, it's plenty more of the same that I've been having going up over the past couple of weeks. Lots of NXT Universe mode, lots of nothing else, and that should be the same story this week. And I guess, Addy, do you want to hit the group channel or your channel first?
Well, my channel will get nothing because I've been sick for the past 2 weeks.
That's fair.
And I I just literally didn't feel like writing shit while I'm also either vomiting or just in general in pain.
Yeah.
So that's been the whole up on that. As for the group channel, there's genuinely no easy way for me to check anymore because of the
All
backlog.
right.
So going off of my memory, I believe it should be Splitgate, and something on Friday. It can't be Street Fighter because we finished Street Fighter, but it is whatever is taking Street Fighter's slot. Probably Terraria.
Nice. It's been a little while since we did Terraria, but I feel like we got a lot of episodes out of or we got a lot of hours out of these sessions that we did have.
Yeah, we got a lot of hours. I think we only got like, I don't know, 10 episodes if even that.
Ah.
So yeah, Pig, your week.
All right, my week. Let's start with the obvious. It was just a lot of 2K23. Been working very, very hard on that. And then for new stuff, I played a new Nintendo game that was released this month called Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp or something like that.
Ah, yeah, technically not a new game, that's a remake, but yeah.
Yeah, technically a remake of an old game from 2001, but still. Released this past month. I played that with my brother. It was very, 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 very fun. Though also, we kind of locked ourselves into a stalemate because the way the map was, I was just sending planes down to his home base, and he was just building anti-aircraft artillery. So we were very much in a stalemate of we both had plenty of money to keep our armies going, but we could never get anywhere because we were always just straight up countering each
Yeah.
other.
That's when you send in your player character and blow him up in his base.
Yeah, absolutely. So Advanced Wars is actually a lot like what's it called? What is that? What's the game that we played with Alex and Alex plays all the time? Gladius.
Ah, yeah.
Relative War. It's actually a lot like that. It's very, very it's much simpler, obviously, but it's got the same concepts really.
Ah, I thought it was a strategy RPG like Fire Emblem.
It's Fire Emblem mixed with Gladius,
Ah,
as far as I'm aware. Those are the best comparisons I can make.
I see.
And outside of that, probably not anything else I can think of at the moment.
All right. Well, let's see. I did finish the phone background that I was working on.
Nice.
I guess I'll put it into the mod area so I can delete it easier later.
I'll be honest. Anything you post, I'm not gonna be able to see for a little while because I'm not tabbed into Discord.
Ah, I'll post it anyway.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I have to remember to delete this once you actually see it. Anyway, yeah, that's the thing that I made. I don't actually like how it turned out, but my 1 month trial on top of my 2 year trial that I got
Yeah.
is running out, and I don't have, like, this took me a fucking week to make. I don't have another week to just work on this one thing.
Yeah.
And even if I did, like, I don't think that it would be quantifiably better. I just have to wait until
Nice.
I think I'll just have to wait until I improve a lot and then revisit this.
I gotcha. I can attempt to open up my phone and check out the pic that way. It's gonna be slow though.
Then I played a game called Paradise Killer.
Sounds not quite paradisey.
It is a walking simulator crime game that is
Ooh.
very it's very okay. There's this there's this genre of game that there isn't actually a genre to itself, but it's the only way I can think of games like Paradise Killer, where Vinny Vine Sauce does these blocks literally just called Sunday Stream, where he plays nothing but weird games, like weird for weird's sake, just art projects and shit like that.
Fair.
And Paradise Killer is a Sunday Stream game. It is just very fucking weird, and nothing makes sense. And like every part of this game just screamed that sort of energy to me, because the palette is full of fucking neon. Why? I don't know. The characters are all obnoxious, which just kind of checks out, honestly. The art style of the game is a weird mishmash that looks bad, but it looks bad in an artistic way. So technically it's good.
Okay.
It's technically good, but I don't want to acknowledge it as such. And the story is intriguing, but here's the thing. The game's music and visuals, like the game is simultaneously was able to overstimulate and understimulate me at the same time,
I see.
and that somehow triggered my fucking my anxiety. I don't know how. So
I see.
yeah, so I stuck with it for a while, but uh fast travel around the island, like, it's a crime game. You have to go and meet with people and talk with them and try to get information out of them and shit. And that part was fun until I figured out that, hey, you know that guy that you need to climb a mountain to get to, and there's only one entrance to the mountain? Yeah, you need to go to him like 3 times in an hour. And between that, you also need to go to the guy on the other side of the mountain, on the other side of the island that you're on, to check out those facts. And
Fair enough.
once I realized that, I don't actually want to do that. Now there is fast travel in the game, but you have to pay a collectible for it.
Oh.
And while I had a lot of those collectibles, you also pay the collectibles to one of the characters for them to give you information. So I was shit out of collectibles because I got information.
I see.
And I'm not gonna walk back up the mountain and down the mountain onto the other side of the map, just because I actually bought information like I probably was supposed to, you know? So I just looked up a synopsis of where the plot goes. Or, well, I looked up the closest I could find of a synopsis of where the plot goes after uh I decided to quit the game. And I mean, it does things. Hey, W.
Hey,
are you doing here? You should be here for at least another hour.
That's true.
I had this all planned out. You're throwing off my groove.
Oh boy, I am not awake.
They think of it as on your channel, I guess.
I have no idea.
All right.
I certainly plan on doing Gladius, but that's about as far as I've got planned.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, Paradise Killer is a game. It's
Why is it a game?
easier to be weird with that, I guess. I mean, like it was a genuinely enjoyable experience, but at the same time, like once again, the the traversal wasn't great. Okay, actually, no, I can genuinely point out what what the big problem for me was with the traversal, which is that the game seemed not the best optimized, which is weird to say for a console game, you know.
Yeah.
And the game was running at like somewhere between 25 and 30 FPS, which like 30 is fine as long as it's stable, but it wasn't stable.
Well, yeah, that's no good.
And so yeah, imagine having to walk up the mountain with only one entrance, and then going to the other side of the map with that with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed neat from the stuff that I saw. Then I played the demo to a new game called Brock the Investigator. It is about an alligator detective. It is a
What detective?
alligator.
Okay, I heard that right.
And it is what the probably either the publishers or the developers, I don't know who coined the term, but they call it a point and punch game because it's half point and click, half beat 'em up.
Ah,
And you can switch between the two gameplay styles whenever.
I see.
It actually seemed quite neat. The demo went on for a lot longer than I thought it would. Like there were moments in the demo when I forgot that I was playing a demo, which is, you know, it's a nice thing. That it felt so open and ended and so rich in content that I forgot it was a demo.
Right.
Otherwise it was just very reminiscent of like old humongous stuff, like Putt.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably a game I'll pick up whenever I'll have the money for it, because that seemed like a very fun game.
Nice.
Also, it has it once you finish the chapter, the entire first chapter, I guess, is the demo. Once you finish the chapter, it has the whatchamacallit, the telltale, like, you know, this certain amount of percentage of players did this and that, and it just has a tally of all the characters who've died in this chapter.
Nice.
And that implied that everyone that you meet can die, including you, as a part of the story.
Ah.
So yeah, that was a thing. Did I do anything else? I don't think I did. Alright, W.
I oh boy, let's see. Nothing really worth talking about, I guess, other than let's see, the draft, part one of the draft started for WWE, where they're just switching wrestlers from brand to brand, and it's always much less exciting than WWE implies, which is just I don't know what else people would expect. But this particular draft, the only things of significance, let's see, Imperium to Raw, which means I don't get to see Gunther anymore, which sucks because I don't have USA Network. But on the upside, Bullet Club to SmackDown, so that's nice.
Yeah.
And they made a few NXT call-ups.
Yeah.
SmackDown gets the NXT Witches, the Celtic Witches. And then Raw gets everybody actually cool.
Exactly. They called up my boy Apollo again.
Raw gets JD McDonough, Indy Hartwell, and Zoe Starks. Who, if you threw in Ilya Dragunov and Dijakovic, that will be the only 5 picks for people I give a shit about on NXT.
I can't believe they called up Bron Breakker 5 times. Twice as a SmackDown superstar, twice as a Raw superstar, and once as a free agent.
I feel like the one thing Ted can do to kill a popularity of a wrestler in our group is really put them over.
Doesn't Ted hate Bron Breakker?
No, Ted loves Bron Breakker. He thinks Bron Breakker's the next superstar.
That's news to me.
I want to say Ted was firmly on the Braun Breaker bandwagon, and then Gog and G-Man joined him. Well, maybe not G-Man. I don't remember about G-Man. But I know Gog joined him on that, so I had to raise a flag against Braun Breaker. I won't allow it.
Yeah. Well, Gog's continually on the train that they need to call up all the NXT guys immediately. And what me and Ted both keep saying is, right, because, there's an hour of TV right now that they're just not doing anything. We really need to fill some spots with with some fucking, not just the great guys on NXT, of which there are currently very few, because there's good in-ring wrestlers on NXT, but a lot of these guys just need to stand back there and grow some fucking personalities.
Absolutely.
You don't like WrestleMan? WrestleMan.
I'd like WrestleMan a lot more if he weren't WrestleMan number 24 out of 75 on a 40-man roster.
Well, NXT in particular for a little bit has been just the homegrown guys and very few of the really hot indie talents, right?
Yeah.
NXT, the WrestleMan brand.
And it feels like the split they had before, where you would have, let's go back to the really early NXT days. Baron Corbin stunk, but they could have Finn Balor and Samoa Joe come in and put him over, and he still stunk, but damn it, Balor and Samoa Joe tried their best. Now imagine if the homegrown talent was someone who didn't stink.
Yeah.
I think the split there, I mean, for one thing, of course, obviously, when you have mostly homegrown talent, that means the Smarks go back from thinking NXT is God to shitting on NXT, which, I don't know, the Smarks can go fuck themselves, but at the same time, they do tend to control the narrative around a lot of wrestlers, so.
True.
They're bad people and should be set on fire, but nonetheless, they are a fact of life. I do not think that you should actually be set on fire for your wrestling opinions. Unless you're a really big fan of Chris Benoit or Jerry Lawler. Because they are bad people and you are bad people for liking them. But should I just be inventing stuff to talk about for a little bit?
I don't know, maybe.
We're about... I think Addy wants the recording to go over 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're about 25 minutes at maximum right now.
We're literally at 19 minutes and 40 seconds right now.
The women's side of the NXT roster also, I think, is... I
mean, we can talk about Triple Mania.
It's fine. Nikita Lyons will carry the entire division when she gets back from injury in about a year.
Yeah. I mean, we were worried about Gigi getting lost in the mix and JC coming out as the Shawn Michaels to her Marty Jannetty. Right?
Right.
Well, evidently we're going to need Gigi and JC to carry the whole fucking NXT women's division for the next year at least.
I thought you were gonna say, well, evidently the whole roster is Marty Jannetty.
Oh God. They
all killed a guy.
Yeah, they all want to fuck their daughters.
Yeah. And both of these are somehow Shawn Michaels' fault, by the way. I'm sure.
He did this. Marty only wants to get in there because Shawn got in there first in the 90s. Wait.
Hold up.
Yeah, no, that joke doesn't work. Yeah. Nonetheless. Yeah, for the NXT women's roster, it's really Toxic Attraction.
Don't worry, they still have Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. They'll be fine.
Oh my God, you're right. I hate that you are 100% right, and they are almost certainly going to put the belt on either of those two.
Yep.
I mean, they could just send down fucking Dakota or Bailey.
Send down Dakota. You know, Damage Control, which just got drafted to SmackDown, by the way. Let's send them back down to NXT real quick. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's fine. It'll buff out.
They'll acquire the free agent status, which apparently lets them go to either show they want? Question mark?
Look,
it's explicitly free jobber status.
Bailey is used to just having to go to NXT for no reason.
You're not wrong there.
Like she becomes a free agent to just go to NXT for no reason. But also becomes a free agent, so he can also go back to NXT. Let's work dates.
Again, that'll be like the fourth time he's had to go back to NXT.
Yeah. Look, he's just not quite there yet. He needs something more. This guy who's nearly in his 50s, he needs something more to grow.
This guy who's nearly in his 50s had wrestled marquee matches all across the globe for the main roster, mind you. Probably not done baking in the oven yet. Let's send him back down to NXT.
Yeah, he needs to feud Bron.
You know, first ever inaugural Universal Champion of the world. Battled Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Sting, The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Edge.
At the same time.
At the same time, in a Hell in a Cell, with the steel cage on top.
And the Punjabi prison.
Around the ring, on top of the Hell in a Cell, mind you.
And the Punjabi prison.
Exactly. I think he needs more time.
All right, I got an idea. Let's send Finn Balor back down to go fight the new guys. And let's send Apollo back down to fight the new guys. But then when they both get there, let's not have them fight the new guys. Instead, just fight each other.
I don't know why I thought you were going to say, let's just send Balor back to New Japan. Fair enough.
Oh, boy. The other thing I noticed from the draft is... Oh, so there's not going to be a Cody versus Roman number 2.
No.
Cody does not get to finish the story. It's just that Roman whooped him. There you go.
I told you, he has a very special contract. The contract says that he's going to job for 9 years and then get fired.
What? My God, a backstage politician supreme.
Cody didn't mind jobbing himself out to people. He just minded that he was doing it with face paint on.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. So yeah, I guess the other thing we could hit would be that we watched Triple Mania as a group.
Yes, we did. as a
Well, we
group.
hit Triple Mania Night 1. Triple Mania's Night 2 and 3 have not happened yet.
Right, those will
Yeah.
happen in a few months, and then a few months after that,
Yes.
because it makes total sense. Night
Yes.
1, we'll have it on what month are we in? April. We'll have it in April. Night 2, that'll happen in let's say
June.
June. Night 3, December.
Yeah. Of course.
It makes
Well,
total
no,
sense.
I think Night 3 is actually in August.
Probably.
Carrying on 2 conversations here. One was soon as well. Okay.
I was doing the same thing earlier.
So, there was a particular moment I wish we had gotten on recording of a Laparca match comes on, and Addy goes, "Oh, right, this is the fake Laparca." And I say, "Laparca number 2 is dead." And Addy, for a moment, just like with a surprising degree of shock, "What?"
I have not been proven wrong though. That Laparca did not do the dance, so he is not the real Laparca.
Exactly.
Even if it actually is the guy who originally was Laparca, that's not the real Laparca. Yeah, like the highlight of that match was I forget. No, I think that was that was Laparca Junior that came out. The highlight of that match was Laparca Junior coming out, doing a suicide dive, and groaning himself on the guardrails,
Jesus.
hitting no one.
He is a special talent, a one-of-a-kind performer.
And actually, no, there were 2 highlights. One of them was that. The other one was this was a 4-way match. And the match ended with Laparca knocking someone out and dragging one of his opponents on the guy he knocked out so that his opponent could win. And then he went, wait, no, I fucked up. Uh, but yeah, this was my first time seeing Vikingo. And everyone keeps raving about Vikingo, and I just didn't see it. I mean, sure the man can
No.
sure the man can flip, but like, why? Why is he flipping? What do the curtains mean?
Vikingo at least is slick and clean with the flips, so he just needs psychology. Commander,
I don't know.
Yeah,
if I,
Commander was the one I walked away from saying, "Where's the hype at?" Because I did not see anything in that match.
that's the thing though. Like I haven't heard
sucked.
shit about Commander, so I went in just going, oh, I guess he's like Sin Cara. But with Vikingo, I've heard that.
That's the thing. Sin Cara in Mexico is actually pretty well put together. He just sucked when he came to America. He passed through
Yeah.
a portal that made him suck.
Yeah.
Jet lag
Jet lag.
for like 3
For
years.
7 years.
Yeah. But yeah, like with Vikingo, like sure when he executed his flips properly, then the flips were clean. But also his setup time for the flips where it felt like half a minute, and I wouldn't call that clean. And then he also botched 2 of them. Commander tried to do things, but didn't really.
No, he didn't.
Like I liked how the 2 luchadors were out luchad by the 2 foreigners.
Yeah. I liked Rich Swan back in the day. It's just a shame he had the domestic abuse situation or whatever that was.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. That explains.
It was something, and that's what got him fired from WWE to begin with.
That explains why he's in Mexico.
Kind of. Because he was the reigning cruiserweight champion at the time when he got fired, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That plus his physique explains a lot.
Also, shout out to Strickland, who worked as a giant in that match for the first time in his career, because it was the only time he could do it, because that was the only match where everyone's shorter and weighs less than him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's technically there were matches other than those two on the card. I just genuinely don't remember them.
The
There was the,
Mistizes versus Arhanus
yeah.
match was pretty radical because of the ladies they had at ringside, but aside from that, Arhanus kind of sucked ass.
Mrs. was also in the match.
I like Mistizes.
Like the highlight of that match
Pretty
was
solid. Yeah, Argent sucks.
the highlight of that match for me was W finding out that somehow like everyone is connected to Sin Cara. Somehow, through some way, every luchador.
Every wrestler in Mexico is related by some degree, which is kind of weird to think about and wrong.
Oh, by the way, I'm just now thinking about it, and I don't know why, but Pink, I looked up the name of the chick who came out to the ring with Argenis, and that is La Hiedra.
Would you be surprised if I told you that I already knew that?
No, not really, but I had a strong feeling that we were both going to look that up after the match.
I've known her for a while. I was already well aware. Trust me.
Okay.
I had a CAW of her in 2K16 or 17, and I don't remember that much. They obviously don't do the ass justice in those games, though.
No, well,
But she was
Pro,
slimmer
it's
back
really
then
odd.
anyway, so that's not a big deal.
Fire Pro, it's really odd because you have to boost waist and thigh size. Which, to tie in with that AAA, excuse me, I watched a complete CMLL Viernes Special or Viernes Especial.
Ooh.
And yeah, AAA and CMLL are like night and fucking day.
I believe it, yeah.
There were only 2 coked out wrestlers in CMLL instead of the usual 4.
Instead of the entire roster.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah,
I mean, there's one question that needs to be answered to decide just how much of a higher value CMLL is to AAA. Are they employing Patron?
yeah. Yeah.
So what was the card? What was the card that you saw?
Let me pull it up because the first match was Ray Cometa versus. Ooh, I'm gonna have to hang on. I'm gonna have to do some looking because I don't believe I left it in the playlist.
All right, I guess while you look it up, I have a question to make because I recently saw a picture of Rey Mysterio at a baseball game and he had the mask on. Does he never take the mask off?
Not in
Like,
public.
sometimes he goes into a telephone booth, it spins around taking it off, he turns into Oscar. No one knows who he is.
He doesn't teleport. It's just this weird new guy called Oscar appears, and nobody cares who he is.
Yeah. But they do share the same tattoos for some reason. He's just a really big Mysterio fan, I guess.
Okay, Ray Cometa versus Magia Blanca. That one was a good one. Start off with some pretty nice chain wrestling. Then it, goes into dives, and then it goes into the big moves. You get the structure.
Yeah.
Then a 3-on-3 tag match. Titan, who I gotta say, from what little I've seen, Titan seems like the fucking man. Am I
I'm
correct
not
in that?
familiar with Titan.
What'd you say?
I said I'm not familiar with Titan.
Okay, or Titan?
I'll have to look him up.
Soberano Jr., who seemed solid. And the card here lists Atlantis, but I can tell you by the fact that he wasn't old and fat that it was Atlantis Jr., not the original Atlantis.
I should hope so.
That was okay. So they just in CMLL, they don't have it be like an informal thing of faces and heels. They are explicitly billed as Rudo, Technico. That is strange. But from what I've read, it's supposed to be like it's an actual, like, in kayfabe philosophy.
Yeah.
And even more so, there are face Rudos and heel Technicos.
Yes.
Which does make sense, because WWE also does that. It's just not so explicit. Because, like, Eddie Guerrero or Stone Cold Steve Austin were face Rudos.
Right.
While conversely, you could easily say, for instance, Gunther right now is a heel Technico.
Right.
But nonetheless, they came out officially, the Technico team was Titan, Soberano Jr., and Atlantis. And the Rudo team was Yota, Niebla Roja, and Barbaro Cavernario.
I like it.
Or, well, excuse me, I think it's Barbaro Cavernario Jr., because I want to say there was a previous Barbaro Cavernario, right?
Right.
Okay, and he was really fucking ancient. And so now, by tradition, there's just another guy who comes in and runs a caveman gimmick.
Absolutely. You can't have a wrestling company without a caveman gimmick. Come on now. That's just common sense.
That's true, dude. He has Von Wagner.
Exactly.
So this just ties into
AEW
the
has
wider
Jericho.
goofy thing of, if you're a success in Lucha, you will have a junior or a Hijo or a so-and-so too.
Absolutely.
So even though the Vikingo gimmick and the Barbaro Cavernario gimmick were more acceptable in the 80s and 90s, but are now goofy, nonetheless, their kids or their students or just anyone who bought the license will come in as number 2 or junior
Yes.
for these gimmicks, which are now, by all means, out of date.
Yes.
That's just funny. But
It may be funny, but you can't tell me that if he couldn't, you don't think that Bray Wyatt would just come out as the Undertaker too?
Dude, remember it went for like a solid month after like WrestleMania 34 or whatever. People thought that Roman Reigns is gonna come out as Undertaker Jr.
I remember that. Yeah.
Because Taker left his hat and coat in the ring, so clearly Roman's gonna pick it up.
He inherits it.
That's how things work.
At WrestleMania 40, Roman will come out as a Hijo del Taker.
At WrestleMania 38, you remember at the start of the show, Triple H came out and put his boots in the ring because he had to retire before 38 because of the heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was not the first match of the night the women's tag match?
Yeah.
So fucking Sasha Banks comes out there and picks up Hunter's boots and puts them on?
I guess. Did she leave those on the table when she walked out of the company?
No, she took them to Japan. Triple H never got to work Japan, but Sasha will carry the Hunter legacy on.
I see.
It's all about the money and how you make it.
She won the title when she did a shoot pile driver, or excuse me, a shoot pedigree. That jobber pedigree where the guy bumped on his head.
Right, yeah.
She did that to Kairi Sane. That's how she won the New Japan Women's Belt.
I like it.
Do you, though?
Not really.
I was about to say, that sounds like the opposite of what you would want to happen. Anyways, yeah, so is my guess here accurate? Is it that the singles matches in CMLL, they work more of a classic style? You start off with a bit of slow chain wrestling, then, okay, it's time for dive spots, and then, okay, let's hit our big moves until somebody gets the win, right?
Right.
And the team matches are just more so, let's go immediately off to the races and just have the crazy tag spots.
Usually.
Okay.
I want to say 9 times out of 10, any tag matches just go out there and hit your big dives.
Yes. Though this one did have a lot of cool spots. I don't remember any of them because that's Spot Fest for you, but it did have a lot of cool spots. The other question I have is, do they have regular tag team matches 2-on-2 in CMLL?
I don't think so. They might, but I'm pretty sure they're all 3-on-3s.
Okay.
The
The
only-
third match was
I want to say how CMLL works is that it's 3-on-3 or 6-man tag. Well, I guess either works because there will be 2 participants who are acting as the quote-unquote tag team, and then the third man will be the
captain.
quote-unquote captain. Yes. And
And
I don't remember if this rule is still in effect, but I believe you can only win the match by pinning the captain of each respective team.
either you pin the captain or pin both of the minions.
Ah.
But one has to happen. And on top of that, it was a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yeah.
So there are by the time the match was over, there'd been like 6 or 7 pinfalls.
Right.
So the next match was Templario versus Volador Jr. This one was a pretty good one.
I like Volador.
Is Volador usually good?
I would say so.
Okay.
I've seen several matches of Volador Jr. and Templario, and I like them both.
Yeah. There was one particular cool spot where Volador was on the apron. Templario goes for the baseball slide to take out his legs. Volador hops over him, and while Volador is still in midair, Templario, of course, slides out from the ring because he went for the baseball slide. And Volador, in one motion from jumping over Templario, hops up on the second rope and does a cabrata, a moonsault.
Yeah.
And that's probably the coolest ringside springboard spot I've ever seen. As opposed to the usual thing of, okay, just stand there dazed like a Mortal Kombat character while I set this up.
Right.
So that was a cool match. And for the last match, it was another trios match. For one thing, it was Rudos versus Rudos. And it was heavyweight trios.
Oh.
It was the team of Mephisto, Euphoria, and Rey Hechicero. Well, apparently now he's just regular Hechicero. He lost his crown. Versus the other Rudo team of Stuka Jr., Gran Guerrero, and Ultimo Guerrero. And this was a little bit less exciting, which I know it's Lucha. The heavyweights are always slightly less exciting than the cruiserweights.
Plus, I want to say at least half those guys are freaking ancient by now.
Yes. Stuka and Ultimo are both definitely fucking old.
Ultimo's been wrestling for 3, 4, 5 decades? I don't know. I just know he's pretty freaking old.
Bizarrely enough, Ultimo was one of the best in the match. I would say he was the best of his team, and Hechicero was the best of his team. Which Hechicero is also, I'm pretty sure, pretty fucking ancient. Let me look it up. Because I want to say he must have been. Oh, Rey Hechicero, it's not known how old he is because he's not been unmasked. Oh. Though he did debut in 2001. So he's probably not that old as luchadors go. But, yeah, just kind of an okay match, kind of middling. Like, the difference between CMLL and AAA, I don't know if CMLL does pre-tapes and then cuts out the botches. But, well, I mean, I was about to say the difference. No, there's loads of differences between CMLL and AAA. But one of the major differences in ring is CMLL is so much cleaner. There's so many less botches. Everything looks much slicker. It's well done. Whereas you guys, we saw that Triple Mania.
We all saw it.
Yeah.
We were there.
We saw Commander.
AAA is sloppy. Like, really fucking sloppy. There's botches, and the stuff that doesn't, even the stuff that does go off successfully, still goes off very dirty, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of going for head scissors where the opponent never actually wraps their head around the opponent's neck. They just kind of flip in the opponent's direction, and the opponent does a flip to sell.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Laparco Jr. goading himself wasn't planned?
Yeah. So yeah, either which way, the first CML card I saw, I liked it a lot. Think I may be a fan.
Nice.
How often does CMLL do stuff with their women's division? Because this was a card of all dudes.
I want to say not often. I can't recall much women's action in CMLL.
Well, I know they have Zeuxis and they have Princessa Sushit is a big name, isn't she?
Yes.
Well, they've got those two.
There's about 10 ladies working in Japan, pardon me, working in Mexico, and they tend to bounce back and forth from each company.
Yeah, I was about to say, do they do a lot of bouncing? Because when you look at Wikipedia, Wikipedia's got half the women set on the wrong roster.
Yeah, lots of bouncing around.
Okay, because it like when you go on Wikipedia, it's like, ah, yes, Tiffany, she's in CMLL, she's currently the champion. No, she's literally on AAA. I just saw a show where she's there. Shout out to AAA though. AAA doesn't care about the age of the women any more than they care about the age of the dudes.
Yeah.
Both are, like one of Gran Hamada's daughters, I think, has gone back to Japan. But the other of Gran Hamada's daughters is still wrestling, and she's like 50.
Right.
But then they'll have that. I forget if it's Tiffany or if it's the other chick, the other blonde chick, who is going out there, and she's a 50-year-old woman, but she's still like trying to sex it up, and she's doing the Harley Quinn bit. And it's kind of of course it's a little bit gross, but it's also just really funny. Especially because AAA does have otherwise a lot of like younger women on the roster.
Yeah.
And then they've also got Negro Casas' wife, Dalis, who is also extremely old. And when you look at the AAA show I saw that had a 5-way for the women's belt, it had 2 young women who I did not recognize. Taya Valkyrie, who is apparently God down in Mexico. What's the deal with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is Taya Valkyrie God in Mexico?
You know, that's a good question. I couldn't explain it. But yeah, she's super big down there. I want to say she's won the women's championships in both CMLL and AAA at the same time, which is, what is that called?
Oh God, I need to step out. I gotta take a phone call.
No problem. Actually, kind of a problem because I'm not sure Addy would have any input on this matter.
I saw
Addy?
Mucha Lucha.
Ah.
And also El Tigre. I think.
El Tigre is pretty cool.
I'm trying to remember if there was other like lucha focused TV series that I remembered.
You must have played as El Fuego at one point during Street Fighter 4 that we did years ago.
El Fuerte?
Was he El Fuerte?
Yeah.
I thought it was Fuego.
With such great moves like Quesadilla Press.
Yeah. The Tortilla Slam.
The Tortilla Crunch. Look, if the Awful Waffle can be a move, then so can the Tortilla Crunch.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's taking out a Regent and kneecapping the other wrestler.
Precisely.
All right, I'm back. I was just told we're going to get pizza, so want to wrap things up in 10, 15 minutes or so.
Sweet.
Yeah, even with AAA being as trashy as it is, I mean, here's the thing. Part of the thing with Lucha is, even for a lot of the wrestlers that are garbage, Lucha has a lot of the best ring gear.
True.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. One thing I distinctly noticed is, like, CMLL puts a lot of money into their production value, and I can confirm they took the Corona beer ads off the ring mat.
Nice.
Now the ads they run constantly on the Titantron and on the ring apron are for New Japan, so I guess they're really kosher with them right now. They're in deep.
Oh.
Which one of the matches I saw the highlights of on CML's YouTube channel had Rocky Romero in it, so there you go.
Yeah.
But even for AAA, who cheaps out on a lot of the aspects of the actual show, which is weird because isn't AAA the one that makes more money?
I think so.
But AAA tours where CMLL doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, that partly explains it. Even when AAA doesn't put any money into the actual show itself, holy shit, how much do the individual luchadors spend on their gear?
Millions.
La Parka has one of the most iconic sets of ring gear ever. You can never have seen a La Parka match in your life. You could not be into wrestling at all, and you've probably seen, at the very least, a La Parka mask being sold at Party City.
Yeah.
And he has to routinely get new suits to cover for his increasing beer gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you
man.
think that's why he stopped carrying the chairs around, because they don't make them that big?
Yeah, with the cherry tip over. It's too much. What cracks me up is, okay, we got La Parka. We've got La Parka 2, who passed away a few years ago. We got La Parka Jr., who is a skinny guy who's in good shape and does a lot of his dad's classic stuff. So he actually does a pretty good job of being a second La Parka. And now there's Hijo de La Parka, who may or may not actually be related to La Parka. It's not known. And he, despite being the young, new version of La Parka, newer than La Parka Jr., hopefully not younger, he already has a fucking beer gut and wobbly legs.
Well, that's the thing. Junior is the continuation of 90s La Parka. Hijo de La Parka is the continuation of today's La Parka.
Yeah. Oh, boy. It's nice seeing the modern stuff. I feel like I need to look up more of the classics as well. It does seem like it's a little harder to access the classics, at least partly because a lot of the classics are on YouTube, but they're on YouTube in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
CMLL and AAA, it's easy to access because they both just have YouTube channels where they put up all the modern shows like a few weeks after they go up.
Yep.
Hell, Triple Mania Monterey just went up like a fucking week after it was done. Didn't it?
Yeah.
So, which, I mean, even before I started really getting into Lucha, giving Lucha the honest try, I was able to see Triple Mania upload from last year, Rey Fenix versus Vikingo, which probably my first clue that Vikingo was overrated watching that match. And Meltzer gave that match 5 stars. That match sucked. Which, granted, it's Rey Fenix, and anyone would have trouble working around Rey Fenix, but still,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not seen much of Penta Jr., but boy, Penta Jr. seems like he's the superior of the two there.
Yeah.
And they both love their super kicks, right? That's why the Bucks are so big on them.
Yeah.
Of course. There you go.
Precisely.
That's all you need. Shout out to the fact, by the way, I like Titan's finish, by the way, where it is just the setup to the Mystica, but instead of turning into an arm break, into a Fujiwara, he just pins you.
Nice.
He just rolls you over and pins you in a crucifix style.
I like it.
I don't know why, but I like that. The idea of a tilt-a-whirl into a crucifix pin being a finish. There need to be more guys whose signature finish is not a move that hits you. Like, not a move that's supposed to knock you out or a submission. Their signature finish is a certain leverage pin that's supposed to be impossible to get out of.
Yeah,
That's an underappreciated thing nowadays.
absolutely.
Which, what else was I going to say? It was just a general observation on Lucha. But I like with Lucha the split, how sometimes there are some guys who don't really do the high flying at all, but just do instead the most insane selection of submissions ever.
Yeah.
Setting up a Hechicero moveset in Fire Pro the other day while I was watching his match. Boy, at least if the Fire Pro moveset guy maker, which I downloaded it from a guy who is a big Lucha fan, so I have to assume it's a mostly correct moveset. Boy, Hechicero has a lot of submissions where he just twists the opponent into a fucking pretzel.
That's Lucha.
Yeah. Also, I have to ask, just because I saw this, I was looking up, you can set up stables, right, in Fire Pro? So I was setting up the stables, and I go through and I see the history. Perros del Mal. Taya Valkyrie was a member of the Perros del Mal up until 2016 when she switched to Team Trump? I have to assume that's a Sam Adonis stable. Fucking Corey Graves' weird brother popping up again.
Yeah.
But could you explain that beyond it just being Corey Graves and Taya Valkyrie, I guess being the Gringo heels?
I cannot explain that whatsoever because I've not seen that stable.
See, I'm almost tempted to put that as an actual stable in AAA, even if it's defunct, just to be Sam Adonis by himself. At the same time, oh boy.
It's Sam Adonis and the CW of Trump.
CW.
I like the idea of Trump touring in Mexico in a wrestling career.
But he already did a wrestling career in America.
That's true.
That's fucking true. Can we put together we need to put together in Fire Pro a Team Trump, a 3-man tag with Trump as manager. It's Sam Adonis, it's Taya Valkyrie, and it's Booby Lashley. He loves Trump. He loves it. And good old Booby Lashley is just, Sam Adonis is doing his usual routine of, haha, I am the evil gringo. And Taya Valkyrie doing her usual routine of, haha, I am the hot, thick, white chick. And then Booby just looking so awkward as ever. It's almost become endearing how Booby will be booked into the hottest fucking angles and still look like a lost child. You know?
Absolutely.
So what I said to Caveman on Twitter the other day is Booby always looks like a kid at elementary school waiting for his parents to pick him up. And they're 5 minutes late and he's not for certain that they didn't forget him. He's not quite to the point of crying yet, but he's getting close.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
just reminded of a few weeks ago, a clip came out of Lesnar on a podcast. And Lesnar at one point directly says, oh, people think I'm this big, intimidating badass and that I'm an asshole. No, I'm just extremely socially awkward, so I come off as an asshole. And it's just like, it's funny because Lesnar, of course, does a way better job of hiding it than Booby, but Lesnar was going on about like, oh no, when I go out there, that's not really me. I'm entering another mentality. But once I get back to Gorilla, I'm turning off the beast personality. And suddenly you can't walk up to me and talk to me without causing me to stutter and splutter. And I'm just imagining now Bobby and Brock in the same ring, both making that face at each other.
Yeah.
The fucking Booby face. Oh, man. It's been a joy to see a lot of those old wrestlers come back from 10 or 15 years ago who didn't quite work out at the time. And Booby, when you come in to WWE, becoming a WWE fan in 2011, Booby is one of those guys you looked back at the time and went, how was that guy not a world champion? How was that guy not a megastar? And every time we see Booby, it's like, oh, because he's painfully awkward. Like, I feel like for now, Booby has settled into a role of just kind of being there, a guy in the shuffle. And that's kind of an inevitable role he's going to be stuck with. He's got too great of a physique for them to fire him, but he's nothing special in the ring, and he's just too awkward to ever be a star.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is that MVP sold him the headband of self-confidence, but it's not working for some reason.
I couldn't hear what you said, but I'm going to assume you said that he fucks Lana in every company he goes to.
Yes.
While still making the face! That's the thing. Fucking Rusev was getting cucked on screen by Booby while Booby was making the most God help me looks on his face ever. And then they both get cucked by Liv Morgan? I am still
storyline that was.
They didn't at some point reveal that Lana had fucked everyone backstage.
Most importantly, Vince.
Oh, God. I take it back. I take it back. Oh, man. All right. So I believe we can go ahead and wrap things up, but I actually have something for you guys to do while I'm away.
Oh.
So, the obvious thing is, Pink, I want you to make your Fire Pro edit.
I see.
I guess not got the recording then. Might as well.
But I also want Addy, you to